You ready?
I am ready. Let's do this.
All right, let's go. So, a little bit of introduction or anything you wanna set the scene?
I guess sure. I'm 245 Kanna right now. I have a 232 at Dell, who's kind of second main. I do dailies on, etc.
Mm-hmm.
I did my first will clear last week. I've done a couple lucid clears, both on normal. So we're looking to move to hard as soon as possible. But otherwise, just trying to max out symbols and get my Absolab up to legendary and decent potentials.
Mm-hmm. So moving from normal to hard on lucid, and then you're doing will as well.
Yeah, so we did will. We were supposed to practice will this week, but people kept not showing up. So we've done normal will once. Well, technically twice. I died out once. So I've cleared it once, but we're looking to try hard practice as soon as possible.
Mm-hmm. And but so everyone feels like they're in control of normal, because usually I advise like make sure you can make like normal will easy. I was gonna say something else, but make sure that's like easy for you, and then move on from hard at that point. And it's fine if that's after you're already doing hard lucid for a bit, because of course there's the the level requirement and the arcane power requirement that's a lot steeper, and not always everyone in the party can meet that at the same point.
Yeah, I think in terms of damage, we're perfectly fine. In terms of mechanics, we're pretty good. Like phase 3 is kind of just quick, just kill it. So, like I'm, we're just doing hard practice right now. I think we'll probably clear will if we get it down like 4 or 5 times in a row with like 1 or 2 deaths at most each person. I think we should be ready, but hard is where all the drops are anyways. So.
Yeah, exactly. It's you're getting like a little bit of souls here and there, but of course that's not really that valuable. I mean, unless, well, because of the droplet exchange, even getting some droplets from normal would also be useful, right?
Yeah.
So you can get towards the shoulder.
Boss droplets are definitely the limiting thing right now.
Yeah. And
what is?
Sorry?
It's 9 times 12, and then you need technically 6 items because it's 4 plus the weapon, which is 2. So that's, yeah, I have like 400-ish symbols, so after winter I should have all I need to get full arcane. Barring drops.
Yeah, I should be fine. The main thing is getting the boss clear, so getting the boss droplets so you can turn them into coins. That's the main thing. So I guess we'll just peruse your first screen here. So like so for short term it would be like advice on how to get to the point where you can do support more in will, because you're mainly support, right? So a lot of damage is going to come from just like max domain and knowing the mechanics properly and everything. You feel like you're good with the mechanics for both lucid and hard lucid, and then will, and going into hard will, you feel like you know everything there's to know there.
Mechanics wise for normal, yes. The differences between normal and hard, sort of. Lucid we've had a lot more practice on. Will is just pretty recent, so I'm not super comfortable, but I was able to do it once. So that's lag's kind of the big thing there. That's been hurting me. Died a lot to the stupid tornadoes and. Yeah.
Like on getting switched, or when you're already in the dimension, or?
It's a problem with me where I think I tunnel vision too hard, and I don't really like focus on the boss enough, and then like it's like, oh, suddenly there's a tornado, and even when I go to teleport over it, it's like, oh, okay. I mean, I guess that hit me, but so.
Maybe too late. I know you've got all the like skill visibilities down, and maybe using the blade skin.
Yes, mini blade and transparency all the way down every time I do these team bosses. Yeah, so I think I think part of it is also like learning exactly the telegraph, the difference between that and just like the push and the other stuff. But just I'm normally like trying to like dodge the spider legs and the eyes, and then it's like, oh, there's a tornado there. Okay.
Yeah, because of heal, and if everyone has healing familiars and stuff, the legs is pretty insignificant. The little balls can be a bit, those are a bit more important to dodge, especially in hard, right? Because they eat some of your moonlight. So if you need to switch over, that's kind of important, especially if you're the only Kanna and you need to be there to do the binds so that everyone can commit their damage. So those you probably want to prioritize.
Of binds, yeah. Speaking of binds, when in Will are you supposed to bind? Because we kind of just after test we just kill him like instantly, so it doesn't seem like it's necessary to bind. Yeah,
well, that's what I was gonna say. Like, it depends wholly on how strong your party is and what kind of split you're doing. So if you're going to phase 1, if you have a very strong party, you might just go 1-1-1, right? Like just one test, and then just blow through it. If that's the case, then you, like, if it's needed, what you can sometimes do at the end of like the test, like when he's stuck, you just prolong it a little bit with like the small bind, just to let people make sure that you like finish that one, move over to the other one, and then make sure everyone's there, do the large bind, and then with the rest of the burst, blow it up. Either someone else goes back, you go back, like whatever, someone is in either dimension, and then you cool. For the last one, it's probably good to ask if someone else can do the bind, so you can keep your large bind for phase 3. For phase 2 in the beginning. So for the third part of the bar, there's probably at least someone else in the party who has a bind, right?
I don't actually even really know what party.
What classes
let alone have I played them. So
yeah. Who are the other classes?
I actually don't know.
Oh, you really tunnel vision.
Yes.
Really focused on your own performance.
I know someone's an archer because we have real sharp eyes.
And those typically don't have binds, so that's not gonna.
Yeah.
You have an Adele.
I think we have at least one Adele, yes, and I know they have a bind.
Yeah, Adele's a bind, right? So you could, but that's something that you like call out, like, can someone else bind the second part here or something? And then if you are that strong and you guys just burst through it, then that probably means, well, you're talking for normal, right? For normal will.
Yeah, hard is 5 times more, so that's
that's going to be a lot more.
Change things.
Right. So for hard, it's going to be more a matter of like, are we basically you always want to combine the long bind, make sure that it's in domain. That's going to be like the important part, and you could, depending on the cooldowns of everyone in the party. So if everyone in the party has like 2 minutes or like 3 minutes or less cooldowns, then you can just always synchronize with domain and then keep your big bind always for domain. If the most of your damage from your party comes from like 4-minute cooldowns, you'll have to use your bind off cooldown every time and then hold your domain and have one big one with the big bind and domain, and then one just with the big bind but without any domain, and then you just hold your domain a little bit longer every time. So your party composition there will matter depending on how you're going to put damage out, because that's going to determine what I said before, like with the 1-1-1, if you're going for like 2-1-2 or for 2-2-2 or whatever. And that's also going to determine if you charge outside or if you're just going in the beginning and just chunking it a little bit and then finishing it and just doing 2 and then using domain on the second part and then doing 2 again on the last one to make sure that domain can be back, so that for phase 2 you'll have domain up again, something like that. So that's gonna you probably need some practice runs to see like what can we do, like how strong are we and how fast can we go through this, and that's going to determine when you use the small binds and the big binds and when you do the domain.
Yeah, because if we're just bursting through each like phase 1 section, then bind's not really. So our team comp is dual blade, 2 Adeles, an arc, and then sort of a fill. We have kind of someone that doesn't join all the time, but all the DPS is 30 to 35k stats, so they're strong. Yeah,
so the arc there is on a 4-minute, but if the other people are like doing more damage, then the arc will have to kind of move his cooldowns around to make sense for the rest of the party. Unless the arc is like way stronger than everyone, then everyone else is going to have to kind of move their stuff around. So that kind of depends. Because every form of will has his own cooldown timer, right? So it's going to be up to you to remember which bind you used on which color, so that you know when which color is bindable again.
Oh, so each the phases aren't different bosses; it's each color.
Both. So both
Okay.
the phases and the different dimensions is a different boss. Yeah. So you could do like a small bind on purple, and then switch, and then immediately use your big bind on the blue one, and both will be bound as if they're completely separate monsters. But this is why you can bind the phase 2, but this is why you would need someone else at the end of phase 1 to bind the last dimension, so that you can have your big bind up for phase 2, because you want the long bind there, because phase 2 has the healing restriction and everything, right? So you want to get through phase 2 as fast as possible, so that you have all the lives available for phase 3.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's going to come down to, like, the Arc will have to make sure that he has his 4-minute burst up at the end of phase 2, at the end of phase 1, so that he can go hard in your domain in phase 2, etc. So everyone else has to synchronize their binds to their big burst being in your domain. So you might have to check as well, is like, do I domain here? And then everyone else is going to have to say, like, okay, all of our big bursts is like 30 seconds off or something, so like hold it for another 30. Or someone is saying, like, oh, I can pop one big burst here, and we can get the HP bar down, and you can save your domain for the next one, for example. And that's going to be some practice just to check how strong everyone is and how quickly you get through things. So you're going to have to be flexible in that. And everyone else is going to have to manage their own cooldowns. You're mainly going to have to manage the timers on the binds and on which dimension it was bindable. So you can say, like, okay, I can bind purple in 15 or something, and then everyone else can see, like, okay, I'm gonna hold my burst a little bit then. Or you can look at the HP bar and be like, okay, that means that we're not gonna make it, so we might as well just hold a bind and then use it on after the next test, for example, like if the next test passes, something like that.
Yeah, because you have to get him down in the 2 minutes.
Yeah, and if it's like, oh, it's 15, test is in like 15 seconds, and like I can buy now, but it's not going to be enough to finish, then we might as well just chunk the HP bars a little bit, try to equalize, again, get through the test, and then do the last bit, and then have the binds completely reset, right? Because if there's more than enough time between the resets, then both of them are bindable, whatever. Everyone could just pop all their bursts, and you could just bind the one, burst them down, switch to the other one, bind, burst that one down in the same burst.
Yeah.
And then you can, do a 1. And then hopefully that's not the last phase, though, because you don't want everyone's burst to just come on cooldown right as you're going to switch into phase 2, right? Then it's better to just be rather safe than sorry and just take an extra test on the third part of the HP bar of phase 1, so that everyone has time to get all of their skills back. You have your domain back, you have your big bind back, everyone has their huge burst back, Arc has his 4-minute burst back, and then as soon as you go into, like at the end of phase 2, you'll start charging. It's important that no one else attacks so that he doesn't stage too quickly. You can just charge domain at the end after the test of the third HP bar, and then everyone goes into phase 2 with a charged domain, and you can and with some skills popped already, and you can immediately bind, and you start bursting out.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so there's going to be some flexibility there, and there's going to be some trial and error there. Yeah, if you're really, really strong and normal, you're probably going to start trying to do something like a 2-1-2, right? Where you take 2 tests, well, technically 1.5, right? Because the first is only 1 minute and 10 seconds, and it's not the full 2 minutes. So that's why it's very hard to do a 1 immediately. You have to have a really, really strong party for hard will. But you're probably strong enough to do half, so you can do the second half as well, and then save your domain for the middle one, and then do 2 again on the last one, so 2-1-2, and then have your domain ready for phase 2 at the end of phase 1. That's probably a good start, but it could be 2-2-2 as well. Yeah, whatever happens, it's going to be a little bit touch and go, and most of the big hits for will compared to normal deal more damage, but the main difference is that your Moonlight charge is way slower. So it's going to be more important to dodge. So like the tunnel visioning you had on trying to dodge things, that is going to be quite important. But again, the main thing is like the little purple balls, those eat your Moonlight. Not only do they block you from regaining, but they also take a little bit away. So those will be the most important ones to dodge. But like in all... I thought the spider legs turned off your regen and the orbs just stole. Yeah, so everything that hits you makes you pause regen, makes you pause Moonlight accumulation for a little bit, and then on top of that, the little balls also eat a little bit, so it's like a double whammy. Yeah, but yeah, for spider legs, usually they alternate, right? So if the spider leg just hits somewhere, then usually that spot is safe right after. And always try to stay as much in the middle of the map as possible, so that if you do see the telegraph of the the big tornado, you can go behind him. If he does appear in the corner and he's like telegraphing, just switch dimensions, like panic button. You'll always have your iframe, right? You'll have your ethereal form that you can pop if it's super necessary. You can put a barrier down. If you stand full HP in a barrier, you should also survive the screen crack, provided you don't get hit by a bunch of other stuff. So that's also a good like last option. Like let's say that that everyone switches because you're like desperately trying to finish off right before the test, and people don't have moonlight and can't switch over. If you put a barrier down in the middle and they make sure that they keep full HP, they can also survive the screen crack with that. That's also a possibility.
Right.
So yeah, hopefully that saves you 2 minutes sometimes, and some people some lives. What else was I going to ask? Oh yeah, so I guess with that, one of the more important thing is like your healing familiars, right? Are those?
No, I have a bunch of small. Actually, question on that. What's the difference between like I have some that heal nearby allies and some that heal party? What's the?
Yeah, there's some theories that it also heals people that are not even in the same map, but that are in your party. I don't know if that's relevant or not for the stats. Like, the percentages are the same, whether it says, like, small, no amount, or large. That's the most important part. Yeah. So, if if you get multiple, then it's going to be advisable.
Yeah, so I technically I have one with 2 lines of small HP. I think it's HP and MP. But other than that, I have not been... I mean, I only have one unique familiar, anyways.
Yeah, someone in chat was complaining that they only got large healings, and then here you are only with a boss one. So
yeah, I know. TRK hit me up. We'll switch.
Opposite problem. 30 boss on the second line too, so that's interesting. Yeah, well, so that's going to be nice, and it's going to probably be more important, especially in the beginning, to just throw out more healing, as long as you get the mechanics right. Just throw out more healing than to throw out IED to be able to deal your own damage.
Oh yeah, for sure. In Will, I just actually yesterday got my 3rd familiar slot, so I can do, I guess, 20% team healing with my makeshift... I mean, I have one that's large HP just for me, so I don't know. I feel like party healing is always better.
Yeah, because the more, especially if you're the support, right? Because if you can get party healing as a support, then other people can go more IED and more boss, and then that synergizes better for getting the boss cleared faster.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, and the healing tends to clump as well, so it doesn't scale as well, where like if everyone runs 3 healing familiars, then every time it triggers you get full HP, but there's probably a bunch of heal getting lost there as well at that point. So you can also go kind of overboard on the healing.
Yeah.
By the way, has anything changed since this scenario? Just checking, because I see you still have the old stat details.
I do. Nothing major. Just a little bit... basically the big difference is my Absolab potentials are now all unique. But other than that, nothing really has changed.
Okay. Yeah, we'll probably... I mean, you'll probably know which things have changed in like the last week or two, so if you get over it, you'll be like, oh yeah, that one is a little bit different, and then that'll be fine. Okay, so, but for familiars, you don't have any questions on like how to do things or what to aim for specifically? You feel like you have a good handle on all that?
Yeah, just kind of boss damage, the healing for Will, and I need drop for other stuff.
Yeah, like the large drop.
Yeah, I only have a small drop right now, and I guess medium meso drop.
Yeah.
But I know the command there. I've looked through it before, so I just have to. So it's kind of like just the familiar lines. It's like inner ability where you get 1 at that tier and 1 below.
Yeah, there's like a small, very small chance that you get like the same tier as the top one, but generally that's how it works out. Yeah, same with like item potential, same with like inner ability. Yeah, like the top one. But I guess it's more like item potential, but there's also a very small chance for like another prime. But generally, it's of the tier and then epic. Yeah, that's why unique familiars are quite nice, because you also roll that epic line on top of it. So that's always that's always cool.
Yeah. So other than that, familiars, I just have to actually do the grinding, which is not what I like. I have 10 badges now, so I have the 3rd slot. But otherwise, familiars are pretty good.
Okay. You found one of the characters that has the ask thing for the bags. Some people just didn't get any on their entire account.
No, that's from Frederick.
Oh, you hoard those. I see.
I do Root Abyss every day on Adele and Kanna.
Mm-hmm.
And I just buy them when I find them. That's how my profession skills are leveled up as well.
Right.
I think I upgraded alchemy to like level 4 initially, and then everything else was just the coupons.
Okay, so usually I get to the equips and everything near the end. Is there anything specific, like any specific topic you wanna start with? I see you've got your monster collection here. Like, how are you doing with the reward? Well, I guess totems aren't as important, right? You're using those on Arc maybe sometimes, but you're mainly just on the Kanna, so for that you're probably covered, right?
Yeah, so reward points I generally get 45,000 every month, or very close to it, because this game is dumb, and if you're at like 44,900 and you try to turn in 200, it doesn't let you, so you almost never get to 45k. But yeah, so I generally buy everything else, and then I buy 10 or 11 totems, and then let 8 or 9 of them expire.
Yeah. But just in case, you want to go ham, then you have them. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, grinding to me in this game is going to change it from what already feels like a chore of doing dailies and bosses and all that stuff to literally a job. So I just don't do that. I generally totem on like Legion mules, and that's it. So yeah, reward points is good. I've got all the sources down. I got my 4th monster collection slot yesterday as well.
Okay.
MapleStory Mobile is there.
Yes.
Daily bossing.
It's a nice bonus. You've got a lot of Legion coins for someone at this Legion.
Yes, I don't really use them because I don't buy the coupons to train, because I don't train. And like, you don't even use them like when you're doing dailies, just to get a little bit better rates when you're training if you have this much? No.
Okay.
No.
And wait, what level is your Kanna, by the way? Because I forgot. Is it
245?
245, yeah, okay. And do you have any aspirations during the current event to kind of send, or with the EXP and?
Yeah, I haven't really been doing it. I just, like I said, I just kind of do dailies on my Kanna, so the arcane symbol and the bosses, and then same on my Kanna, plus Monster Park, Maple Tour, Legion. Doing the Bug Cat daily really quickly because that's a thing that exists. But yeah, otherwise, like in terms of getting to a level or whatever, I don't really care.
Okay. So no like aspirations in like the slightly longer term to go for like Ferris Hilla and Tenebris and that kind of stuff, because it's just feels too much like too big of a time investment at this point.
Yes. Also, based on watching you do your Tenebris bosses, it just seems like pure cancer and not really something I'm interested in. So I'll get there eventually, probably, especially once they give us the stupid experience for doing your dailies.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a decent chunk. Yeah, that's once per account per day though, so you're gonna have to choose if you get that on your Kanna or on your Adele.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. I look at Black Mage pretty much the exact same way. So, and kind of at like Chaos Gloom and Hard Darknell, those are really tricky. Once I get like a huge chunk of damage or something, if the reboot passive changes, then maybe we'll try that again. But until then, no thanks. It's too much. Just too much AIDS.
Yeah.
Okay. So when it comes to Legion, you're going like one character to 200 at a time, looks like?
Yeah, so most of those were Mega / Terra Burn, so I just kind of got to 200. I have a kind of a bit of a weird story in terms of the beginning of my account. So last year in August I started. I asked my friend, I'm like, hey, I want to play a mage. What should I play? And he said Kanna, which was an easy option. I got to like, I think I Mega Burned it, and I was like, mid 160s, and I was kind of like, and I actually stopped playing for a bit, and then I came back like a month later, and I asked my friend again. I'm like, hey, but this time I want to play a class that like doesn't need potions ever, so something like tanky that I can kind of just brain dead through. And he recommended me to play DA, which I told my guild this story, and they said I need better friends.
Well, it doesn't need potions though. You got that part right.
Well, to be fair, in Arcane River, it actually is the only class that needs them because of the Arcane Force. Well, it doesn't need potions because it heals itself, but it needs to heal itself. And then around that time, so probably like October, November last year, I found your channel, and then I was like, oh, that's why I feel so weak. I don't have a Legion. So I took all the Awake burnings and all that stuff and dumped them into a bunch of those characters. Did basically all the heroes minus Shade first, and then
those are solid links.
Yeah, then I did like Demon Slayer and a couple other things. But yeah, mostly I go to 200, and then I struggled to get them to 210. I did a couple 140s. I got like high auto to 140, and then with the goo event had those sort of 49% experience potions. Got them on high auto to get it to 200. And then I have like a Wild Hunter and Bowman Mechanics 200. I burned that as well.
Well, because that's kind of one thing that you can do, definitely in your situation, to accelerate that whole thing. If it's not something you find that you have the time to go crazy on, those 49% potions, like those are also in the Legion shop, right? And you have so many Legion coins at this point, you can also just spam those on characters to get free levels all the way up to, what is it, like up to 180 or something?
Yeah.
That's also something you could do, because it's not like you're going to be starving for Legion coins anytime soon. Especially not if you don't really have the desire to grind the train and to go very far in the game. Then that's a resource that you're not really tapping right now that could be pretty, it's just a matter of like logging in, clicking, getting the potions, and then once a week. And then it's basically like free bonking that you have laying around, right?
Yeah, that's fair. What was I going to say? Something came in my mind, it just went away. Like I don't mind training. It's just more totems are 2 hours, and that's like too much time for me to really block off between work and meals and having a non-crazy Maple life.
And you have you do have, if you do have 9 totems expiring every week and you do have access to them, you can also use a totem and just only use 45 minutes, right? Or only use 30 minutes. It's still better than not using a totem at all and giving it away.
It just feels bad.
It feels bad, yeah, but does it feel worse to not do it and then throw away the totem?
No, because I don't see them expiring. But I understand your point.
Yeah.
It is something I've thought about, to just use it, and when I feel like giving up, just give up and let the totem expire mid.
Yeah, because my mom does the same thing. Like, she makes a lot of reward points, and then sometimes she'll just start a totem and be like, I don't feel like it anymore, and then she just walks away. And then she goes and does something else. Because, in your situation, you do have the flexibility to do that, because if you do want to go hard on your main, like, that's not even a class that needs totems, so the price you pay there for playing that way is very low. It's very non-intrusive. So
it's the opposite of Kanna Farmer. It's like, if I feel like playing something not my main, it's like, oh, that's why I have totems.
Yeah, that's why you have totems. Yeah, it's like, oh shit, yeah, these things are kind of useful sometimes.
Yep.
So I mean, yeah, but that's totally up to you, of course. But when it comes to, do you do Legion, or is it like just mainly like, oh, there's a burn, there's a terror burn, then you do it, and then that's pretty much it?
I did all my terror burns have been for Legion purposes. I think I did probably like 3 or 4 characters off burn just to get them, just because I was bored. But that was probably like a couple months ago. That was the last time I really did that. Part of its time. I play like 9 different games, and I have a new job, and like life's kind of crazy right now. So
I see.
After doing dailies, which takes like close to 2 hours, anyways, it's kind of like I don't really feel like playing more. But when I do, and that's something I want to ask you about in terms of like who I should do next. I have a couple of ideas, like because we have the Mega Burn from this event, the Night Troop, which I'm thinking of using on like Bishop to start getting the Mage Link.
Okay.
And then from the Laura pre-registration event, there's also a Mega and a Terra. The other Mega I'm going to probably use on the Fire Poison to, again, Mage Link, and then just do Ice Lightning normally because that's really good mobber, and then the Terra I'll use on Jet for the crit damage at 5% at level 200.
Mm-hmm. I heard from a lot of people that the Jet is actually really fun and quite strong and really fast early. And when I look at like using the coupons, I usually look at like the value not so much in how good is the character when it's finished, but like the value in as in how much time does it save you. There is of course the extra thing that it's not like a full Terra where you also get the equips, which kind of streamlines your whole progression, but it's just the level part. But yeah, if you're like time constrained, Jet is definitely like on the priority list, very high to get up there. So it's not like a bad choice or anything. But if there's something else that's like comparatively or comparatively or whatever, also valuable, but might be someone that you that would be like tougher to level, then that could also be like an alternative to consider. But Jet is definitely not a bad pick to get to 200. And everyone plays in a different way, so I think for your situation it's probably a fine pick. And Explorer Archers is a good idea too because of the IED helping you out definitely as a Kanna.
You mean the mages?
Yeah, the mage link. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because the only other thing on your list that's higher would be the Explorer Archers for the crit rate, which I don't really need. And Night Lord also for the crit rate, which I also kind of don't really need.
Where are you getting all your crit? Because crit rate is pretty from the weapon, the temp weapon. I guess 12. I see.
Yeah, I think I don't think I have anything else. I think it's just that and the Phantom Link.
Yeah, and hyperstats and all that other stuff. The regular. Okay, and you're mainly using, just on topic of the Legion and Links. So I think those are solid picks. Is there anything else for Legion and Links that you were wondering? Build seems to make sense for your board. That's gonna, right now, once you get to 4K, then probably start moving some stuff around, but until then, this seems fine.
Does it expand at 4K?
Yeah, every 1,000 it gains one extra grid all the way up to 6K now. So 4, 5, and 6 gives you one extra hex.
And then 5,500 will give me the 5 extra slots, right?
Yeah. And then 8K again if you ever get there.
We'll see, maybe.
I've been there though, like the playing like 4 or 5 games. I've been there, and then after a while, you kind of just have to sit down and see like which of these games am I basically just doing upkeep on, and which one am I actually enjoying and making progress on.
That's been a lifelong thing for me. So I know that.
I think I had 5 games at some point, and it was like, okay, like 3 of these I'm just logging in, doing like things for 30 minutes, and then logging out again, and I'm not like there's not really anything I'm achieving. I'm basically just getting goaded to come back by the game devs to like claim a daily login and click a few things, right? And then it feels weird in the beginning because you have the habit of doing it, and you're like, oh, but what if, like the FOMO of like, but if I keep doing it every day, then like 3 months from now I'll have so much more stuff. And it's like, but what is that stuff going to give you? Just more stuff, right? Are you going to get enjoyment out of it? Are you going to get fun out of it? Is it like exciting, or is it just stuff to get more stuff so you can get stuff faster to get more stuff?
Yeah, no, exactly.
And
I know fully what.
Because that's what I did recently with Raid. Because I was like, I feel like it was really fun up to a certain point, and now you're just fine tuning everything and speeding everything up, but you're just trying to get the same thing a little bit faster. So it's like, at this point, I was basically at a junction where it's like either I gotta start like spending money to get like significant progress still, or I'm like, okay, it's been fun, it's been real, and just drop it. And it feels weird in the beginning, but it's usually a good decision. Like, because you don't come to the decision too lightly, right? Because it's your life, so you have to decide what you want to do. But it might be that Maple is that game, but you're like, I'm just logging in and doing upkeep, and maybe I pause that one.
It's definitely on the top of the list.
Yeah.
It's the biggest time commitment, and I wouldn't say it's the least fun. It's probably the least fun in terms of like the games that I don't have just running on the side kind of thing, like the actual sort of main focus games.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll
Yeah, some people do that. They just do like the weekly bosses, and then if there's a really good event, they go a little bit harder, and then otherwise they just kind of, log in maybe a few times a week, or just do like dailies around the weekly bosses, and then.
That's the thing I've thought about is like stop doing daily bosses if I'm getting reward points for totems that I don't use. So
yeah, exactly. That could be something. Well, that's also something I wanted to get into, like your list of dailies. If you're saying like you're taking over 2 hours, it could also be a thing where you just need to cut that back a whole lot, and you just do like just the symbol dailies, and then like what else is really giving a lot of value? Like, are you doing Monster Park? Do you really need the Monster Park coins? Like you're doing the daily bosses, do you really need like the Magnificent Souls? Do you really need the reward points? Right? Every single thing has has a value in the game, but does it have the value to you, right? And the way that you play the game, does it help you get more fun, or is it just something to occupy you, and then you don't really have time to play the game anymore at the end of the day? So that could be something to try as well, is to really critically look at your dailies and be like, do I really need to do this, or am I just doing this out of habit or out of FOMO?
Yeah, I think for me the daily bosses, it's largely the reward points, but it's also I do the 5-7 mil one, so that's 35 mil a day. That adds up quite a bit.
You know what also adds up is actually playing the Kanna, killing monsters around your level, and getting a bunch of money from just killing monsters. That probably makes you more than those crystals.
Probably.
And you get EXP on top of it, and you can get droplets
and nodes and stuff. Yeah. It's versus the soul shards and the RP.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, the daily bosses that I do, it's like probably 15 minutes, so it's not a huge
no, but if you do it on 2 characters and you do it every day of the week, then it's 3.5 hours a week, right?
Yep, that's true.
So like just the way that the money of the bosses adds up, the amount of time you spend adds up as well. So that's when people are asking me, like, if I'm doing Monster Park, like, why are you doing Night Stronghold and not like the highest level one? It's like, well, because I can do Night Stronghold in 50 seconds, and if I do the highest level one, it's 2 minutes. That's 1 minute and 10 seconds extra, 7 times a day. That's like 7. It's like a little bit over 8 minutes. So that means that every week, that's about an hour extra of game time. If I train that hour instead, in that hour I can make way more experience than I make in the extra hour I'm stuck in Monster Park. So that's why I do it this way. And then people are like, oh yeah, wait a minute. Like, see, they just see like 1 clear, experience per clear. This is more experience per clear. Sure, but it's not per clear, right? We're always looking at gains per time, right? Time is the resource there. So that's always, and it can be good to take a step back and to reevaluate, look at the list and be like, okay, what am I doing this for? And am I getting what I want to get?
Yeah.
So it seems like the daily bosses is like a habit thing. Of course, I'm not saying like if this is like very fun for you, but from what it sounds like, it isn't. So that might be a good moment to reevaluate maybe, or double check.
I think probably the worst, like the daily bosses, I actually don't mind. I kind of enjoy them. I mean, I basically just one-shot most of them. To me, the most annoying part is like actually getting to the bosses. I know they've sort of fixed the boss party join thing, but like Pink Bean, you still have to travel 2 screens. And, Horntail is like talking to 10 NPCs first. So that's a little annoying. I wish they would cut that shit out. But otherwise, yeah. And I mean, the other good thing about bosses too is the cubes and the flames, which is definitely something I use. But also to your point, if I just train, I can just buy them. So
that's why Mezzo is a really good resource, of course, because it's flexible resource, right? And you can also spend it during events, getting more value from it. And then you definitely don't want to underestimate the value of flames and cubes and stamps and potential scrolls and all that stuff. It definitely adds up, but I think it should be like an add-on to things rather than being the reason to do things, because that railroads you into spending in that way as well.
Yeah, I think just because of the getting the Absol was I was sort of in that mode of, do I really need to do bosses? Like, even if I get like 1 Master Cube, it's not that big a deal. All the Master Cubes are kind of wasted, but now that I need them, it's kind of, I need them again. So but yeah, no, that's a good point to sort of analyze. Like, yeah, I don't like training, but if I just spent even just like 15-30 minutes a day instead of doing the bosses, I could probably get more money. Just, not the soul shards, but hopefully this weekend I get some, or tomorrow actually I get some bags. Which is actually a question I wanted to ask you.
Yeah, sure.
So bagged souls, you add them to your weapon. They give you a random stat,
Mm-hmm.
and you're looking for 3%. Well, I'd be looking for 3% magic attack, right?
Yeah, some people will also, depending on what soul it is and how many you have left, you could also settle for the percent boss damage or the percent IED. Some people, the crit rate I think is pretty valuable too, especially if you're a character that needs crit rate like you, because in the moment that you either switch weapon or it might allow you to go maybe a little bit higher on hyper stats and then switch out of a link skill, or you can go a little bit higher on your board and get rid of the link skill, because these are all like moving pieces, but the weapon and then the soul in the weapon is going to be stuck for a little while longer. And if you look at your Legion board, critical rate and boss damage are essentially worth the same, right? Like just one covered is 1 point. But on double S souls, if you hit crit, it's 12, and if you hit boss, it's 7%. So essentially, if you look at it that way, the crit rate is almost worth double, right? Because that means that once your Legion gets bigger, you can just take a bunch of crit rate out of Legion board and put it in boss damage instead. And now you're now you're getting 12 instead of 7. So the 3% magic attack for like the flat amount is definitely most valuable. What a lot of Kannas actually look for is they look for a normal Lucid Soul, and then they can use that as an extra summon to cover more of the map and get better rates when training.
Yeah, that's something I'm working towards. I have 4 Lucid Soul Shards from 4 Lucid Clears, so I've been getting lucky.
Yeah. But it kind of depends on like which weapon you have, right? So if you have like the temporary arcane, that might be like more of a weapon where like if you're strong enough where you can train, that might be a good weapon to put the normal Lucid Soul on. And then if you're going for like a real arcane weapon for like full more damage and be like an actual more of a party member rather than just a support, but be in support and also be part of the DPS and the DPM, then going 3% or the boss or the ID, whatever you need on that one would be more important. So that's like how that can vary based on what weapon it is as well. But if you're getting enough souls, you can also go for magic attack now, or for crit. And then, later, if you do get the Lucid Soul and you're closer to an actual weapon, or you get a drop from the bosses, then you can, reassess that.
Yep. So you said the percentage from double S souls. Does the tier of the soul affect the number?
Yes. That's a good question. I believe so. Yeah.
Because I always thought the
some of them
S rank.
Some of them can be magnificent, but their stats will just be garbage. Because
I always thought that tier was just the tier of the summon. I didn't realize the stats were actually dynamic.
Oh no, the summon is very much specific to which boss it is, and then the tier decides how good the stats are when you put it on the soul. So I believe the tier S, even if you get magnificent, I don't think they give percentage attack. I think they just give flat amount. Yeah. Okay. So like a magnificent is like 10 weapon or magic attack, 20 all stat, 1500 HP, 10% crit, 5 IED, 5 boss, or all skill levels +1. And then magnificent goes to 2 here, and then 7 on these two, 12, and then I don't know, like 2.5k HP or something, and nobody cares. And then 30 all stat, and then 3% weapon or magic attack on a double S. So that's why people want those double S to get the better base stats, or to 2k. Yeah. The all stat goes to percentage. Yeah.
Yeah, I just assumed the double S was just for the skill. Okay, so that changes things.
Yeah, so the skill is like base level 1, and then can upgrade to a level 2. I don't know if you're confusing it with that, maybe?
No, I understand sort of once you get all the things in your book.
Yeah, this book is full, yeah.
It just then seems weird why Crimson Queen is SS, but Pierre and Von are just S.
Yeah, I think the order in which you do the pre-quests, I think, is what their intended order is in the difficulty of the boss. So like Von Bon easiest, then Pierre a little bit harder, then Queen harder, then Vellum the hardest. And I guess they just make the cutoff in between. Like the first two fall under S, and the second two fall under double S. That's just kind of where they put the cutoff. And then some bosses are just completely down here. Like you'll have Ephenia and some other bosses that maybe aren't, like Mugong, which is pretty hard to get, right? You can only get it in the dojo, and it gives a really good buff, but it's a D tier, so his base stats is really bad.
Yeah, some of those bosses I don't even know. I've never even fought.
Yeah, these, like the tier Cs, I think these two were only part of like a temporary event. So you sometimes see people like the Elunite. Oh yeah, it was from Eluna, I think. So the Elunite Elemental and Tutu and Nene, I think, were from the same thing. Hikato is, I guess, the new boss. Yeah. That doesn't listen.
Cool.
That's some area
So
bosses, but yeah, nobody cares about those.
So last question on souls was so normal souls you see what they add, but mag souls you have to add them to the weapon and then it tells you. And then if it's like there's no way to extract that soul out, right? You have to just take it or overwrite it with another one.
You can, if you want to, you can destroy it. You have to go to the NPC to destroy it, or you just put a new one in and it just replaces it. But the old, once you've used it, it's like completely lost. Yeah.
So the soul is truly consumable.
Yeah, it consumes by the weapon. Yeah.
Okay, so basically you just get a bunch of mag souls and hope you get a good one, and then if they're all SS, then you get whatever skill you get, I guess, that you land on. Or for me, I can do the lucid, which I'm probably going to do anyways.
Yeah, if you're near the end, you only have maybe like one left, and what you have at the moment is like kind of okay. Maybe you don't gamble getting HP in the last one and then feeling even worse.
Yeah.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, okay. That's cool. All right. So just to, I do have a list of things I wanted to.
Yeah, we could do that.
So hyper skills. What? I know they're kind of a mess. I haven't touched them in like probably 6 months. They're kind of all over the place.
Yeah. It happens because you level up the big ones, the main ones, and then every single level up gets so expensive, so you kind of start putting points into other stuff. And it makes sense, but then at a certain point, you're like, okay, you have 3 levels here, 3 there, 5 there, 6 there, 7 there. If you pile it on together, it could be efficient again if you reassess. So it's a good thing to check that every now and then.
Yep. So yeah, like I feel like, I don't know, like is crit? I know summons can't crit.
Yep.
So is crit damage really that important?
It becomes increasingly important once you become more of a damage dealer in your party, right? And once you do more solo bossing, then it becomes more important for sure, because you want all of your other skills that are critting to hit hard. And as you can tell, your critical damage is not very high, so percentage-wise, adding critical damage hyperstats will add a substantial amount to your damage. Because critical damage is basically like final damage on critical hits. And even though it's additive, it's not as efficient, but if you're on the lower percentages and it's additive, it's still really good.
Yeah, when I add 1 percentage point to 50, that's a 2% increase, as opposed to if my critical damage is already like 180.
Exactly, yeah. That's why getting crit damage on your gloves will be huge.
Yeah, that's the first absolute piece I want to get to legendary to get that crit damage.
Yeah.
And then
the other thing is your mana probably. I've seen a lot of people go way higher on mana on their, especially if you're bossing more and you're putting down more barriers and stuff. Your mana regen can get a little bit cucked. It's not as bad now, of course, right? Because that new that regen skill fix will make it a lot safer to regen.
Oh, Kanna's definitely needed that buff.
Yeah,
absolutely needed the buff where you don't use half your HP to heal your mana.
Because why would you have to do anything risky, right, on the class?
Yeah, it should heal you too. Like, why not?
Yeah. Maybe increase final damage or something.
Yeah. So yeah, like I feel like I have 5 in int and 5 in an attack, and then like, I mean, the arcane force I don't need. I have almost max arcane, so I can
and the bonus EXP. Yeah. Since you're not really training much, you could probably would divest from the bottom 3 and from the int, and then see what you're left with there. I think that generally you put like I've seen a lot of people put the mana a lot higher, go for either 5 or even up to 10 for mana, just to facilitate the bossing more. And like the harder the boss is, the more you want to not have to fuck around with your mana at all. Plus of course the regen skill is going to give you more if your max mana is higher, so that's also nice. But,
is it? I thought it was always 75.
Isn't it a percentage? Oh, it might be.
No, it just says 80.
Oh, okay. 80? Oh, yeah. So never mind, scratch that part. But the regeneration does get reduced as you put more barriers out, as long as you don't put them on veins, right? So if you have more barriers out, especially with Lucid as well, you might put some barriers in some places, like in the middle, or on the top right if there's bombs and stuff, so people can huddle in there to take less damage from those skills. You want to make sure that that doesn't interfere with you being able to charge your domain as well. So the higher your base mana is, the more liberties you have there to, not have to play 100% efficiently.
Yeah, that's a huge feels bad, man, when you run out of mana while you're trying to charge.
You're like, charge. Everyone has skill transparency on. Fake it till you make. Yeah, it's charged, guys. Did you stop like 3 seconds in? No. Yeah. You don't want that to happen. So yeah, I would experiment with a little bit more mana. You could definitely take the points out of int and attack and arcane power, because you're more than high enough on arcane power. That shouldn't be an issue at all.
Yep.
And if you don't need all the way mana, you could put like a point or maybe two, I don't know, more into critical damage, for the solo bossing part. But if you're not doing that at all, then I would just go like all the way in mana and maybe put one in IED or something.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So sticking with that window, innerability. I know, like, you don't recommend attack speed for Kanna. I should get I think the boss or the meso, or well, I would probably do boss if I don't want to train much.
Yeah, I think it's a thing that some people recommend for some situations. Because it's in the Kanna guide, right, from Sleepable. Just talk about it. Like
people in my guild tell me, like, yeah, like I think you technically can gain attack speed because you're not at 0 with your booster, but I think you mentioned the other day, like, you don't really gain much from it. Because how does attack speed work on like mages in general and Kanna specifically? Like, does it just increase the Shikigami hunting attack speed, or is it all skills, or like, is it like faster cast rate like Diablo, or like, I don't...
Yeah, I think it's that. It says here for bossers, first line attack speed versus 20% boss, second line crit, third line boss or magic attack or buff duration or cooldown skip. Shikigami hunting alone is affected by increasing an attack speed past the soft cap. Hits and lines in a given amount in times do increase. However, the simulcasting of haunting and Tengu strike, there isn't a noticeable difference between soft cap and attack speed of 1 or 0. So nice it would be for every boss to stand still and be beaten down like a target dummy. That simply isn't the case. Having the addition, yeah. So it's basically for 1 extra rank of attack speed on Shikigami hunting. So it's mainly just for bossers. And I think if you're honestly mainly going to be a support more for a little while, the main thing I would go for a long time, especially if you also don't need the crit, is just to go for like a meso obtain top line, or maybe, and then get like a combination of meso and drop, honestly. Because it's going to make all of the training that you do and all the grinding that you do feel much more rewarding, to get more money, to get to the point where you can become like the mage in the party instead of just a support, and you can become you can start doing multiple things, and everything is legendary, and you're walking towards getting like full arcane stuff. At that point, then you can redo the inner ability, but you do have like 2.6 mil, so I would look for either some circulators or like an event, and see if you can get a nice line on the second or third, maybe like a 10 or 15% on, well, at least 10, but like 15% if you can get that on meso or drop, and then just roll whatever you didn't get on the top line, and then run around with that combination, so you get something similar to like what my arc has. Probably not as good because I got really locked into this, but if you like like meso and item drop big, and then just whatever on the third, like not even really caring what the third line has, for the long term, that's gonna probably set you up for success further down the road much more, because this inner ability is like, oh, this is the inner ability you want to get if you're like, like level 260, like full arcane, like 21 star everything, like bosser, and you want to be able to contribute a whole bunch of damage to your party, kind of thing.
And that will too get better once the reboot passive changes as well, right?
Yeah, that's like if you got the boss damage line. Yeah, so that might have to be then revised a little bit, because then maybe the boss damage going up, and if bosses still get bound as long, and Lucid actually gets bound now, so maybe that will become more competitive again with the attack speed. Yeah, who knows? We might have to redo some calculations then again at that point. Might also very much be a feels thing, by just having one or the other, and it just feels better to have that extra rank of attack speed in a lot of situations, even if the damage is maybe not necessarily higher. It could just be annoying to to get stuck in an animation, like you jump, do an animation, and you land, and the animation has like a few more frames before you can move. That's always you kind of get like stuck on the ground. That can also be annoying.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on then to for links.
Yeah.
I don't think I really, other than the mage link, I don't think I really need any new ones. What should I be prioritizing for getting to level 3? Like, I feel like probably IED is the best one on Lumi.
So yeah, about needing and stuff. So this would be your bossing setup, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so if you get the crit. So one thing I think could be, I don't know how married you are to close call. That's typically one that I throw in like as a Hail Mary when I don't need damage at all. And if I do need damage, typically throw something in like the Kanna link or the Kinesis link here. Kanna link providing you with 12% extra damage, at least if you're higher level than the boss. And you debuff all the time, so that's pretty easy to get a high level upkeep. And then time to prepare, I feel, is maybe not as reliable because it has like the 50% thing. I prefer to have skills first that have like 100% uptime. And since your critical damage is that low, the 4% damage, 4% crit damage from the Kinesis, I think comparatively is probably pretty good for you in exchange. And I don't know how you are with the buff duration. Do you need the Night's Watch to go up to level 2, or do you already have 100% coverage now?
It is 100% duration, but that's because of the IA, so I feel like
if you redo that,
re-roll in the IA, I will need to get to level 2.
Yeah, and level 2 is still very doable, yeah. As long as you don't need to get to 3, then we're chilling.
Yep. You know, obviously I want to get the resistance link a little higher too.
Yeah.
But yeah, close call, no, I just throw it in there just because, like, otherwise it's like keen edge. It's not really that good.
Yeah. Yeah, no, yeah, it's a little bit, yeah. But like the Kanna link, Kinesis link, probably good ones to look into. And then, yeah, the ones to get to level 3, probably, considering your situation, probably the Beast Tamer is a really good one. Although I heard that currently playing Beast Tamer gets you banned, so maybe don't do that right now.
Yes, it does.
But yeah, because it's percentage HP and MP and boss and crit, like it hits everything that you kind of want. And then other than that, IED is very good for you. So if you can get the Lumi up there, that one is already at 200 as well, right? So those last levels on the Lumi would be very valuable. And then, yeah, I guess the DS, right? That's a 5% extra damage.
Yeah.
That's always nice, but that would be like a little bit lower priority probably. I would probably work on the Mage Link before going that hard, and then probably put the Mage Link in if you're like if you're solo bossing. The Noble Fire isn't actually that good, so you could yeah, like one of those other link skills that I mentioned, maybe even another IED link or something, right? Maybe the Hoyoung or the Zero instead of Noble Fire, just to push the IED a little bit further. And then if you're party bossing, you can definitely throw in the Noble Fire, especially if someone else in your party gives you any IED. Like the Arc will give you some IED during the burst, that's an extra 20%, so that'll be pretty nice. And you're basically covering the difference, so.
Speaking of Zero, I have to do the finish the storyline, right? I do all the chapters.
Yep.
I'm still on, I like finished chapter 2 and pieced the fuck out, and then never went back, ever. And so yeah.
That's fine, so that just means that your link skill is going to be a lower percentage IED. So if you could just use the Hoyoung link instead, then you're good. You don't have to do the storyline. Like the level of your character still determines the level of the Legion piece and of the Legion buff. It's just for the link skill itself that the percentage goes up. And
yeah, it's still level 1 and only does 2% IED. Which is...
so you just don't use that one. Use the Hoyoung then instead if you need a little bit extra IED.
Okay.
That should be easier to level.
Hoyoung, mages.
Yep. And then Kanna, Kinesis.
Yeah. Okay.
Those are good classes, yeah.
Cool.
Progress on the symbols. That's almost done.
Almost. Just another. What am I at right now? Right now I'm at 133 and 137, so that's like.
Yeah, it's like 35%.
Yeah, it's like a month left.
Yeah, hopefully hopefully some more cock-ups, some more compensation, so you can speed it up a little bit.
Well, they haven't been giving us symbols really. Like
20 now, right, in the box? But yeah, that's
20. That's it. Yeah, that's not a lot.
It's one day of dailies.
Yeah, exactly.
When you're done, though, they're gonna add the new dailies, so you can speed it up once you're done. So.
Exactly, and I won't. But I mean, they're terrible, so I don't want to do them anyways.
Yeah, some of them people not too happy about it. I mean, people don't even do Urda Spectrum, so they're not going to do those for sure.
Yeah. Okay. What else do I have? So I think Legion I'm pretty clear on as well in terms of next steps.
Mm-hmm. I think for Matrix, you should probably go over some stuff, right?
Yes. Matrix is something I want to spend some time on. But one question on the Legion. Corsair, that increases summon duration, and that includes Kishin, right?
I believe so, yeah. Maybe chat can confirm, but I believe that includes Kishin duration, right guys? And the boss as well, I believe.
Yeah, boss is less of a deal because that's like 1,000,000% uptime.
Yep. Yeah, that's not the problem, of course.
Yeah. Okay, so that's probably something I can just do easily to 120, right?
Yeah, that should. Yeah, it's actually kind of strong early on. It's like a decent hitboxes and it has good multipliers. It increases Kishin duration, but not the spawn booster's effect. That's what I heard too in the beginning, but then I heard that wasn't true. Well, the other thing is that even if it doesn't increase the uptime, if it increases the uptime of the or the map buff, but it increases Kishin being there, then if you get Night Ghost Guy to trigger while Kishin is there, then the map effect should re-trigger even if it's only the summon that stayed up. So it still helped in that way, I believe.
Yeah, that's weird. Because if it is like that, then, well, I mean, technically you would want it to be recast. If, like, casting it gives a fixed duration to the... But that's not... I don't know. I think it's Nexon syndrome. Okay, so that's pretty good. So let's look at V-Matrix. I think... So, one main question. If you look at the next image, I think it's 8 experience nodes. I'm assuming dump those into domain.
Most likely. You also have like 25 million pages of unopened used nodes, I see. I'd probably get through those first and see what that is all about.
They're mostly shitty trinodes. Like, they're not like domain and fit job skills. I've used all those already.
Like, I see 10 rope lifts. Please just condense those into one slot so that you can open up. Like, the doors, get rid of all of those. Pretty much all the other ones, I think you can all condense into one slot. So if it's like Urda's Will, even Hyper Body, Speed Infusion, even the Bind, but that's like a pretty min-maxy late endgame thing for Kannas. Honestly, you could probably, with how you play the game, you could probably get rid of all the binds. Probably, right? Because you have 2 built-in binds.
Yeah.
When are you going to ever need a third one? You can put all the blinks together.
Wait, because that's good now.
Yes, because that's good now. Flight, that can also be more survivability in some situations.
Yeah.
You're using 2 for 6 boost nodes, yeah. Yeah, so you're using the 6 boost nodes, which is like the setup for the bossers. So you could also be in a situation now, if you're mainly mobbing and supporting, that you primarily work on the first 4 boost nodes, right? So the ones that are more on the leftish side of your inventory. And then when it comes to like survivability for the bosses and you're doing hard will and stuff, make sure that you get like ethereal form and this Princess Akuna's blessing in there.
Yeah, that's one of the things I wanted to ask you about is the generic skills. I don't really use them, and I don't really understand how they work in most cases. Like which ones are good, which ones are worth using, and
including the ones you have like on the board now, or
the ones I have on the board I understand pretty solidly. But yeah, like Sukuna's Blessing, Ethereal Form, Mana Overload. I'm pretty sure they're good. I just don't really use them.
Oh yeah, Mana Overload is also good. Yeah, so Princess Akuna's Blessing is basically like, you know how Infinity works on the Explorer mages?
No.
Oh, basically like you get a bunch of final damage, and then the longer it lasts, you get additional final damage until like at the end it's like a huge amount, and then there's cooldown basically.
Okay,
kind of
so that's what I thought. It basically gives you like 1% final damage per second.
Yeah, it just keeps kicking on. Yeah, and then it's just cooldown, and it's basically synchronized with like your big burst. The ethereal form is like it's not really an iframe, but basically you take you take only like 1% of the damage during it, so it essentially works like an iframe. So it can help you survive like screen cracks, or even like tank lasers, or like tank one hit from the dragon. It's pretty short duration, so it's more like a panic escape button. But if used properly, like if you're falling after like doing what's it called, like Orochi, and the dragon breath is still there, and you can like tap it. So that you can take like the one tick without dying, it can save your life like a bunch of times. So it's very useful for survivability.
So it only works on one hit.
I think it works on multiple hits, but the entire duration I think is 2 seconds or something. Like it's pretty short,
3
so
seconds.
you have to time or 3, yeah. So you have to time it pretty well. So as you get better at bosses, you can. But it's not got that long of a cooldown, so you can use it quite a bit. I think it's like a minute cooldown.
Yeah, 60 seconds, and it says I lose 2,470 HP, which I have 167.
You probably have enough of that as a Kanna, so you should be fine with that. So when it comes to the boost nodes, I would definitely prioritize, if you're going to be leveling any boost nodes, those like 4 on the left side, right? Because those are like mobbing and bossing what you're going to be using. Except I see that you have Night Ghost Guide in there. I don't think you're supposed to have that one.
No, it's supposed to be the other one.
Yeah, Yosuzume, right?
Yes, I just can't for the life of me get the tri-node with Yosuzumi's.
Right.
So I just ended up having Haunting and Exorcist Charm and Night Ghost twice, so I was like, whatever.
Because Night Ghost Guide, you don't want it to do damage because it'll kill the monster faster and then trigger Night Ghost Guide less, which makes your Kishin end faster, right? You want more Yosuzumes to fly around because those can trigger Night Ghost Guide, and then those can increase the duration of your Kishin.
Oh, so the longer Ghost Guide is on, the longer it adds to Kishin? I just thought it was when they pop up.
Yeah, when it pops up, yeah. But it doesn't get like an increased chance of popping up. It does more damage, right? Mm-hmm. But it's on a target, so it kills more targets.
But I'm killing most things in one hit anyways, even in Limina or whatever. No, not Limina. What's it called?
Yeah, what I've seen some people do is just take off their Shikigami Haunting nodes when they're training. So they can have more things that don't one-shot, but they can still kill within the frame. And then that way they can get more Night Ghost Guides to trigger.
Yeah. Okay.
But I think you have like a lot of like cleaning up to do first. So first I would like condense all the special nodes that you're going to use. I think I think the only one you get rid of is like the Decent Mystic Door. And I think pretty much everything else you... and the Bind probably. And then everything else you can condense. And then you can extract like all the shitty nodes that don't start with Shikigami Haunting or Exorcist Charm, because like that's the only one where you're looking for the Yosuzumes, right? And then I would craft a whole bunch of domains, and you could probably use the experience nodes in there as well. That's probably fine. It's like domain and the Yuki Onna. Those are the 2 that you want to max first.
Okay. Should I keep Urda Shower?
Man, some people use that. I don't see the point in it whatsoever for a Kanna. Like, you have so much mobbing already. I think you can get rid of that one too. Fuck it. Okay. So many rope lifts? Yeah. Well, it looks like a lot, but if you squeeze them all together, it's maybe like a level 5 or something. Most people have like a higher level at that point, but if you have them all spread out, then yeah, it looks like a whole lot.
Yeah. And I mean, to be fair, I've actually started noting on my Adele, so the last like 400 have gone to her, so I actually should have way more.
Yeah.
I just don't clean up very often because lazy.
No, I noticed because that's a lot of dots there on the bottom.
Yeah, I was hoping you would notice that. Actually, kudos to you for noticing it because it's kind of dark. So in terms of mana overload, so you toggle it on and then you just lose HP.
Yeah, you consume HP for every attack you do, but you get like 8% final damage, I think, very quickly, which is just a lot of damage. Yeah, so it's something that, again, if you're just mainly being the support, you probably don't want to use it because it might make your survivability a little bit harder. But if you're going to be doing more solo bossing and more being more the damage dealer in the party, then it's one of the more necessary skills, and you're going to need that to do a lot of damage. But by that time, you're going to be like 255, 260 or something, and you'll have all the slots available to throw that in.
Yeah, so it's kind of like something you do while you're bursting alongside what's the skill, the AB link.
Yeah, for sure, yeah. Well, you would actually it's a toggle, right? You just tag it on and just keep it on the whole time and learn how to play with it, basically.
Oh, but wouldn't you like drain if it's 2% per attack? Wouldn't you like die very quickly?
Well, that's why people have like auto HP and that kind of stuff. So some people might turn it off for certain things, but basically you learn to play around it. And because of the familiar healing and stuff, if that comes in at the right time, you stand in your barrier, take reduced damage, teleport, and get better at dodging skills. You can definitely play around it. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay. Yeah, and then just back on the experience notes, because the only other thing really is the will skill and the Saren skill, which I'll probably never get. So
yeah,
kind of doesn't really because the will skill, most of the damage is just when you cast it, which pretty much already kills everything, and then the sort of damage over time damages like nothing and doesn't really matter.
No, the damage over time is actually the big part of the damage because it hits a lot of lines. Yeah. It hits a lot of lines throughout your screen. The initial hit seems big because it hits a lot of targets, but like on a single target, the like if you want to optimize your BA, for example, you'll actually summon it before you start your BA so that you can immediately start getting the ticks from the summon. That's actually bigger.
Okay, so it is.
But for multi-target, the explosion is huge because it's just another full map clear, and then it kills some stuff as well. But on a boss for single target, then the summon is actually the big part of the damage. Yeah.
And I need to kill someone that.
Yeah. So that's why I'm saying like clean up the nodes first, and then see how far you can get with like crafting domain and Yukiona. Because if you can get close to max with that, then I would just probably use the experience nodes on the reflection at that point.
Yeah.
But it'll depend on how much, because that's a lot of pages. That's a lot. That's like thousands of shards. That's probably like 8,000 shards or some shit. So, well, but a lot of the skill nodes are probably gonna smush together. So I don't know how much there's left, but that can be thousands of shards there. Yeah.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 11 per page. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. It's like 30 pages, 10 of skills, 20, 300, and then 30 each. No, that's gonna be kind of bad.
Okay.
It's gonna be a lot of clicking, but there's good value there. Yeah, and then the Night Ghost Guide, trying to get the Yosuzumes, but you should be able to craft a bunch of those as well, and then hopefully get them, because the other ones are like perfect together already, right? So it's just those two.
Yeah, they're slightly out of order in terms of like your list, but I have all the ones that I need right there. Title.
Yeah.
Quick question on that one. I just got the CRA title, and I also have the One Droid title. I'm assuming, is the CRA title just always better than One Droid, or like my?
Technically, if you're like mobbing against normal monsters, I guess technically the other one is a little bit better, but it's such a small like that should never make the difference of like clearing faster. So
I think my range went up by like 40k by doing
so probably just keep the CRA one and just don't think about it anymore.
Yep, that makes sense to me. Okay, so for my I guess we can get into
Quips, I think so. Yeah. Well, yeah, because we got like 15 minutes left, so we probably should get to that point.
Yeah. So 2 other quick questions, and then we can go into equips.
Yep.
Is it worth getting 600 monster collection for the fifth slot? Seems like not, since I already max reward points anyways, and I like never get flames.
Yeah, for your situation, I would say it's probably not worth it. No, definitely not a priority. If it's something you slowly want to work on, something you enjoy doing, then have at it. But with your current situation, I definitely would not put it as a priority, especially if you're already like thinking about maybe dropping the game, or like definitely like dramatically reassessing your dailies for like time allotment purposes. I wouldn't consider that anything to worry about at this point. No.
Okay. And the other quick question is, so Lotus and Damien I don't really do because I have the Absol Lab. I know I should be doing it to get backups. I also sort of stopped doing the weeklies as well because lazy.
Well, I wouldn't say you should be doing it for backups, honestly. I think at this point, getting soul shards and getting the crystal value, if you can do it in a reasonable amount of time, could be something to do. But if you have all the pieces, you can just safeguard up to 17, get good potential, and then just hold out for arcane. You can 100% do that, definitely as a Kanna. There's no need to go for backups, honestly. It's only if you want to... no, honestly, like you could do like the weeklies or something if you want to get like extra absos and be able to buy those on other characters or something. But I don't think you need to do it for backups. Only if you want the crystals and the soul shards, I would say.
Yeah, because like I've tried solo Lotus a couple times, and like I can usually get her down to like 50% ish phase 3. But like the platforms I die on quite a bit because hitboxes don't make sense. Even like I literally like when a platform comes down, I'll jump on it, I'll do Exorcist Charm for the knockdown immunity, and then I'll do the what's it called, the Shikigami jump or whatever, Mana Warp. No, not Mana Warp.
Yeah, Shikigami. Yeah, I know
Charm.
what you mean. Yeah, Shikigami Charm. Yeah.
And then I'll do Exorcist Charm again in the midair, and then like I still end up getting knocked down. Like it's like almost 100% of the time I'm knocked down immune, but then I still end up dying to the stupid lasers. So,
and you use
then
Orochi for airtime sometimes.
Is that a thing you can do? I thought you had to be on the ground for that.
No, Orochi is like Exorcist Charm on crack. Like you can hold that down for like several seconds and just stay up in the air. It's also used for Lucid to stay above the dragon.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, you can stay in that for a long time.
Yep. Okay, that's a good thing to do.
And the other thing will be is once you start incorporating ethereal form, that'll save you a lot from Lotus stuff like that as well. You just pop an ethereal form there in your panic mode, and survive those situations.
Does dragon only hit once?
No, I'm talking more about the Lotus again now. But like ethereal form is like, you know, on the wind up, like on the way up, to make sure that you make it up there and you don't get like one tick in before you get there. Or on your way down, if you're about to fall into it, you can use it to just extend or start up your immunity streak.
Yes.
So to speak,
yes. Yeah. And then Damien, I just get demoralized from losing to Lotus, so that I don't even bother because Damien is just so much worse. But I feel like I should be strong enough to solo them. I just, like you said, is it worth the time? And I kind of like, even if I can do them in like 20 minutes, it's kind of like.
Yeah. I would do it like one time. Like for me, I would do it one time to see if I could, and then once I could, then go by how much time it takes to be like, okay, either I find a duo partner and then we just do like two people and then just blow through it, or I just don't do it. Like, but then again, it comes from like what value is your time and what other stuff can you do in the same time that is maybe more valuable and more fun instead.
I definitely prefer to duo it with like someone who's just to get it down half time, but just finding people to play this game with is difficult.
Oh, you cannot cast spells in ethereal form. Yeah, so you have to use it on the back end, right? Like when you're falling, not on the startup. Then okay. So if you're late, you're just always screwed. Okay, or you have to go into the other iframe, into the full map, which is always fun because you can't see anything anymore. What's going on?
Wait, what other iframe?
The big Yaksha boss dude.
Oh yeah.
On the startup, yeah.
The great Oni Lord.
Yeah, like I said, I called that skill before it was announced too. That was pretty funny.
Okay, and then let's look at equips, I guess.
So that's the other thing, right? Like also with the bosses now taking long, once all the stuff is like cleaned up a little bit, right? Maybe get the other stuff in the inner ability isn't gonna do that much, but like the whole node situation is gonna be way better because if you get to max domain, it's gonna charge faster, gonna last way longer, give more final damage. That's gonna make a whole bunch of things a whole lot easier, and there's a whole bunch of untapped potential in all of those, in just all of those open nodes that haven't been used. So that's going to make a huge difference. So your equip stuff, your Abso stuff is unique now?
Yes, but nothing important in terms of potential.
Okay. So you're just like slowly going to get it to legendary one at a time. Gloves first, you said?
Yeah, gloves are the first thing to go, and then probably my Haku weapon. Because Haku's using the Abso because I have the thick arcane.
Oh yeah, let me get to the WC. Alright, okay, yeah, so Haku is... Let's get to, yeah, so you want to get the legendary 2-line magic attack, something like that. Like also use a better flame, right? Magic attack flame.
Yeah, because that's the only thing that that's actually a little... Right now it's, I think, tier 5 flame?
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, the one I'm looking at doesn't have any magic attack, so...
Yeah, it was in the middle of... That's where all my flames are going right now. So
okay, yeah. Yeah, if you hit a tier 6, then you can just safely back off of that and look at anything else.
Because nothing else matters in terms of a Haku fan other than magic attack flame, right?
Yeah, for flame, yeah, that's the only thing that does. All the other stuff just doesn't get counted. And for the potential, also magic attack, so 2-line magic attack on legendary, that's the one you want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because otherwise it's just a regular secondary.
Yep. Yeah.
But,
well,
but even then,
that doesn't mean that you, if you need ID, that you have to get it on emblem. Basically, that's like the downside of all that.
Yeah. Oh, so like ID and boss damage doesn't transfer over on
secondary? No, it doesn't work. No.
Oh, that sucks.
It just grays out and doesn't apply. So.
See, Kanna needs another buff, man.
Yeah. Struggling so hard.
But even the magic attack on the flame, that's only 40% efficient, right?
Yeah, I believe 42 once you get decent combat orders. Yeah, 40% efficient, yeah.
Okay. Which
is still worth it, but yeah, not like that's why you don't go for like tier 7s and why most people don't go for like a 21-star arcane on the second, because it's like that loss of efficiency there is quite crazy with how expensive they can get.
Yeah, and do you think at like what point would you say I should switch the Abso fan to my main? Like I'm assuming like 21-star or something, and which I'm not going to get.
The Abso to your main. Oh, like if you end up, well, probably never, because you never want to switch your arcane to your Haku, because it doesn't have any percentage magic attack.
Right, because it can't switch potentials. Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
So but basically never.
Okay.
If you roll 3-line magic attack, then that's just cool. That's just a really good Haku fan then. That means that you can retire your main fan without having to worry about anything, and just like at that point you just look for an actual arcane fan to switch the main fan with, and the Haku fan will basically be done forever, and you don't have to worry about getting like a second arcane basically.
Yep. That would be good. Yeah, and then so everything else, all the other Abso stuff is unique and just waiting to get up to legendary.
Yeah, your emblem was like what was it? All stat magic attack IED? Is that still the same? Yeah. Okay.
Yep. Yeah. Everything else is still the same.
Yep. Okay.
I tried to keep it as the same as possible, other than using my boss cubes and flames.
Yeah, you got a lot of HP on stuff, so like early on, that's fine, right? That gives you a lot of it gives you damage early on. But then the further you go, the further for your flames as well, you want to divest from that. So at that point, the value of HP lines and that kind of stuff is going to go down significantly compared to intellect, and then intellect's going to scale way better further you go.
Yep. I just don't really like. I do weekly bosses just on my 2 characters, so my sort of Meister Cube income is not very high.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of just making do with what I have and trying to cube the weakest thing to get the most gains, and most things are kind of 1.5-ish line, and it's kind of what it is.
So is it you do have like to an extent like hybrid set where it's both meso or drop and some damage, and it's kind of part of the both sets?
Yeah, so those last 3 rings plus Golix are my sort of drop set, and then the other hold on. The Glory, the Master SS, and the Reboot Vengeful are my damage rings. I was working on getting those legendary, the Vengeful or the Glory and the Tenebris, but then Edge Lab, so those are on hold.
You still use the Superior for drop, right? But that's still 18% int, right? With some MP?
The Superior ring? Yeah. That's I always have that on.
Okay. Because, I mean, if you're mobbing, it doesn't do all that much, right? Because the ID and the boss is the main reason for it to be on. So if you're mobbing, it doesn't really do all that much. You'd be better off with one of the event rings at that point. So whether the expedition or the glory guard gets the legendary with drop or mezzo, then for your drop or mezzo combination, that would be like far greater than having the superior ring on.
Well, right now, the glory, if I were to put it on over my superior, that's only 27k range, so doesn't seem like a huge.
Well, that's because it's like HP lines, though, right?
Yeah, no, yeah. If it were legendary, it definitely. If it were like int and shit,
yeah, exactly, yeah.
As it is now, it's kind of whatever.
Yeah, just to make sure, that you.
Yeah, I also have a 17-star Kanna treasure ring. I don't know if I included it there.
It might be in your inventory picture, but then not highlighted. Yeah. So at that point, the rings are all like roughly similar. In fact, the event rings are probably the strongest ones. So that does mean that you just go by whatever the potential rolls, and that determines where the ring goes. The only thing that's locked in is that you want a superior to be part of your boss damage. That's it. All the other stuff is basically just flexible.
Yep.
Yeah, the kind of treasure ring is probably this one here.
Yeah, the one next
old
to the
shoulder.
belt.
And then you have a chaos ring as well that can maybe do some stuff.
Yeah, I keep rolling. I'm trying to get 25 magic attack with above average int, and it's.
Oh, do you have a lot more time on that?
December 16th.
Okay. That's longer than I thought. Yeah, man. You can roll those for a while.
I have it on 4 characters. So
oh yeah, that's one of your weeklies. Yeah,
exactly. It literally, if you scroll down to all the way to the bottom, I have my list of.
Oh, it's in there. Yeah, rolling chaos rings.
Yeah. So.
Versus.
It's on the bottom right there.
Where is it? Special notes. Wait. Punch
under.
King. Oh, chaos ring. Yeah, there you go.
Chaos ring.
Nice with the color coding and everything.
Yeah, I ripped this from someone on Reddit like months ago, and then I just have been using it and customizing it, and then there's like a million sheets for even the next image down is all the flame calculations that I took from your calculator, all the numbers, and made sort of my own version of it, and just track event progress and Legion and all that stuff. So I think otherwise obviously I need a pat mark at some point. That's something
that'd be nice. Yeah, it's just so hard to hard to get around.
I'm still kind of.
It's like the eye accessory, I guess. Are you going for a monocle, or are you staying with the aquatic ladder eye accessory? Are you just like putting it completely on hold until a pat mark? Because that could take forever, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I also don't really like doing CPQ, even though I do have I could just buy a monocle and use it, but I'd rather not invest in it because I want to invest in my other stuff.
Yeah.
So maybe once that's done, I have nothing else to do, I can get the monocle and just sit on it till I get a pat mark, because even killing CPAP is questionably consistent at my point, just again because I struggle with like not getting hit by random bullshit that has stupid hitboxes.
It's a lot of trial and error. It's like the most annoying one for me is like the purple balls at the end of Von Bon. Those have like a square around them that hits you for some reason. And it's like, why? Just make them bigger so I can see what the actual hitbox is. Why make them smaller than their hitbox? It's so frustrating. Yeah. But I would say money-wise, it'd definitely be like the potential of the Haku fan. Like that's the main thing to invest into. And then after that, I would probably say would probably be getting your not your WSC, but getting your whole your drop set bonus from accessories, like that whole situation like figured out. I think it's okay to get your Zakum accessory to legendary and try to roll for a line of drop or mezzo there and go for like the 5 mezzo 4 drop, or you would have 5 mezzo 5 drop, right, because you've got the double drop ring. Get that set completed, and then once you have that set completed, the set that goes for damage, try to get that all at least to like roll to like around 21%. And then after that, it'd probably be looking towards Star Forcing CRA past 17 is probably going to be the next big thing, or Arcane Weapon, if that comes up, is probably going to be the general order I would look at upgrading stuff in.
Okay. The going past 17 star is kind of a massive stress point for me. Like just the
Yeah, so you want to have a lot
like
of money and you want to have a lot of backups so that it's, bad comes to worst, you just go back to 17 and not much is
yeah,
lost, right? But if you look at the
yeah,
numbers, like the odds for booming, it's actually really low. Like it'll happen, of course, especially if I preface with, oh, look at how low the chance is.
yeah.
But getting all of them to 18 and then all of them to 19 just for CRA, you probably at that point every single upgrade is going to be very expensive, and you'd be surprised how cheap that actually is compared to a lot of other stuff. And like going for 3 lines of potential on everything, for example, that's just spicy when it comes to cost. And Star Force events do come around pretty regularly, and a 5, 10, 15 will be a good event to be like, okay, now you can spend your money, and now you can get that extra value of that limited time that you are spending in the game.
Yeah, because I think I looked at the calculator. It was like 13 bill to go to 21 star with like 1 point something booms. But it's just like stressful for me to deal with.
Yeah, especially if you're more risk averse. If it's like you're swimming out into the ocean and you don't know if you're gonna get back to shore, kind of thing.
Is the other thing too is Greed Pendant worth legendarying to be part of a drop set? Because it has the built-in 20% drop rate.
I have it on some characters. I don't have it on some others. So generally, you don't want to have to rely on your damage, your inherent damage from the accessories much. You want to see those fully as like utility items. So as long as you have like an item right now that's like you have 2 items that have intellect and that have drop rate. So for now, that's like okay. So I probably for now focus on getting like the whole ring situation and the eye accessory, getting that all sorted. And then if you want to have like, okay, now I'm going to make like a dedicated drop rate pendant, for example, so I can get my superior to 2 lines of intellect instead. Then you can use you can use anyone you want. Some people, you will use like a high flame score dominator, to not lose too much damage. But if you're not going to go to the higher levels very quickly, and you do have your arcane power and your boost nodes are good, and your base kill speed is very high, you can use a greed pendant, it would be fine. So like the extra 20% says it works only on equips. People don't really know 100% how it works because it's like the only of its kind with that kind of line. So yeah, I have it on some characters. I don't have it on some others. I don't think it's like the end of the world if you don't use it, but you should be okay to use it and still have enough damage.
Okay. I think. Do I have anything else? It's everything.
Oh yeah, I didn't mention I guess I didn't mention the Absolab. Probably before the part where I said the arcane weapon or the past 17 star. Probably before that, I would put getting the Absolab to legendary and getting like 1.5, 2 line intellect on that probably. Just for the general order, I guess, to keep it straight.
Intellect or magic attack?
On your Absolab armors, I mean, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, for the weapon, for the Haku fan, right? For the magic attack, that one is like on top of the list.
Okay. The fan, then the rest of the Abso, then the accessories, then 21 star CRA.
Yeah. The second and the third point there are very similar. So whatever event comes around, that's where you focus most, I would say. If like an event gives you a little bit more value for one over the other, then reprioritize, but they're pretty similar, yeah.
Okay, I think that's everything. Unless you wanted to discuss.
Yeah, I'm looking through the equips, but I don't think there's any piece. The heart, you have the badge already. The potential, like the emblem is okay for now. Like eventually, you want to get something better there, but that's like way further down the list. Yeah, just work on collecting backups, right, for the items that you want to transfer over into the high Star Force, and don't go too hard on those potentials. So that's basically the superior stuff, right? If you get 2 line of intellect, then that's more than good enough. And then try to collect backups. So for like the earrings, if you get reinforced earrings, you already have a few of those. And then the Dominator pendants, you're saving up on those as well. That's good. And then for belts, yeah, you could do the belts a little bit later. You don't have to sit on like 300 belts, right? You could just get some Bing Bean belts if there's an announcement and you have a lot of money and that's the next thing on your list. And you could just get a bunch of Bing Bean belts and just fodder those up to 21, transfer, and then redo the pot, something like that. And ring-wise, yeah, I see you have 1 primal and you're doing Princess No, so you're doing everything that's necessary there. So there's not much Not too much to add on top of that. I mean, you just hope you get those bosses under control, right? You can get those droplets. And then if you get an actual arcane fan, you should see a lot of damage coming from that. Be crazy. I don't know if you saw the last progression session with the guy with this kind of fan that he was going to use on Haku. He had a tier 7 flame, but that was like 714 magic attack or something on a 17-star arcane. So those are like the numbers.
Yeah, that seems like a lot. I didn't see it yet, but yeah, I can imagine. What would it be? It's like 347, and then you would add 214. Yeah, so that'd be like, yeah, that's a lot.
Yep, it's big numbers. Yeah, you start almost venturing into the 4 digits area.
Yeah.
Yeah, the nodes. I think the nodes thing is gonna be probably quite big. Maybe your hyper skills. By the way, your passive hyper skills.
Yeah, that's actually something we didn't. I meant to talk about. Like, I just feel like the geomancy ones are useless, so I don't care about them. But
this is here. Oh wait, there's just a list of all of them. What's the advice? Which? Yeah, so this is mostly for damaging. I guess the bellflower barrier. You don't have that one. I think that one's gonna be important. Oh no, you do have that one. Never mind. And you have the bellflower barrier down. And the blossom. Yeah, I guess the blossom barrier isn't as important, but with the harder bosses, especially with hard loose and hard will, you're gonna want the blossom barrier cooldown as well, most likely.
And then so I give up the hits. Yeah, the number of. That's what I was looking at even today. I was like, yeah, max enemies hits +2 on Vanquish Charm.
Yeah, the targets hit. Yeah.
Yeah, that's one I will drop for a cooldown for Pink Berry. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. That's probably the way to go there. I think other than that, we covered everything, I think.
Yeah, and then I just need to get my charm to 100, and then we'll be good.
Yeah, that's the most important thing to work on, actually. You should put that top of
use
the dailies.
all the trait potions on charm.
Yeah.
Don't use them to 30, but then after that, use them all.
Yes, exactly. Neglect all insight and empathy on all your other characters that you want to do anything on, but just send charm. Yeah. It's a joke, by the way, everyone listening, this disclaimer. Just for the people watching this, like Pip OG, like taking notes, like, okay, use on charm. Okay. Sure, we don't mess that up. All right, then I have enough time to get ready for my Verus Hill run. Hopefully, we can get that.
I will not interfere with that. So, thank you for the session.
Yes, you're very welcome. Good luck with everything.
Thank you.
And well, I'll put it on YouTube. If anything comes up, just let me know.
Sure.
And yeah, I'll see you around.
Sounds good.
All right, have a good one.
You too. Thanks.
Yes, bye.
Bye.
Okay, cool. Yeah, he was a bit quiet on his side, sadly. So I hope the audio came through okay on YouTube. If it didn't, sorry. Not much I could do. My limited sound engineering possibilities, I used them all to my best abilities. So yeah, again, end of the video. This is where I give you the extra information for all the people who watched all the way to the end. If you want to win one of these sessions for yourself without having to pay for them and cutting the line, you can leave a comment that you would like to win one of these sessions, and I will draw 2 winners at the end of October. We're a little bit over halfway, so get those comments in, and then who knows, you might win one of these sessions with me one-on-one, up to an hour and a half, sometimes a little bit more, to help you make progress with your account in MapleStory. So yeah, to everyone who's in the same situation, hopefully this was helpful to you. As always, if you need any of the resources that we used, we didn't go through that many of them here, but the in-depth resources that I have are all available through my Twitch chat, twitch.tv/Scardor, and then you can use !commands that brings up the list of all the commands that are available. It's a lot of them. Be prepared. And yeah, if you want one of these sessions, you want to cut the line, you don't want to have to wait until the giveaway, you can also check the link in the description that talks about how you can request one of these sessions. And if you want to join my guild, or you have data for me that helps me inform everyone who wants to play the game and keep all of the knowledge that I have up to date, there's also a link to providing me with data based on monster killing and mobbing rotation videos. Those are very, very helpful for me. So if you have footage or number input, I would greatly appreciate that. I guess that's it. thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching the YouTube channel. I appreciate that. And maybe I'll catch you live on twitch.tv one day. I stream every day, so feel free to jump by. And there's a lot of helpful people in the chat that will send you to my commands, and that will help you get questions answered. So once again, thanks for watching.